Welcome to the Coastal Kitchen. Today we're going to have some fun. We're going to make a meal that you can have for breakfast, for brunch, for lunch, or even supper. And it's so versatile you can use different ingredients, anything that you really like. Today we're making frittatas, cheesy bacon, and we're having fried apples for our fall season and homemade old-fashioned soda biscuits. So let's get started. We're going to have some fried apples, and fried apples always remind me of fall. And what we're going to do is do some peeling here. Get this right off. You're going to use some Granny Smith. They're really nice apples for this dish. Get the peel all off. And any little spots you need to take off, you can do that too. All right. Put this away in the trash. And use an apple core, center it up in the apple. And you just about have to jump down sometimes to get it to really get into it. Get that bad boy cored. And we're going to take our apple, cut the core out, and just cut them in half. I'll throw them in my bowl. I've got some already cut up, and I put a little bit of lemon on the top of it just to keep them fresh. If you leave a little bit of the peel on, that's fine too. If you want to leave all the peel on, you can. All right. Let's get this one done. I've got a couple of young ladies that are really going to enjoy this meal. Let's get our pan started. And turn this on high. And move it down to about medium high. I've got a couple tablespoons of butter, and we're just going to put that in the pan and start it to melt. I've got sugar, and I've got molasses and a little tiny bit of water. And there are differences between molasses, and I have in the recipe light colored molasses, but around here it's sometimes hard to find. So if you use dark, that's okay. Alright. Butter's working. We're going to put the sugar in. And I'm going to get a spoon here. Nice wooden spoon. Get my molasses in. And we want all of that sugar to melt. And we're going to get that done before we put the apples in. Alright, now I'm going to turn this down to low just a little bit here. Grab my apples, and in they go. Give them a nice stir so they get coated. You can see how it's turning the apples that beautiful golden shade. And I'm going to turn it down just a touch more. I'm going to put in my water. These apples are going to make their own juice, so we are going to cover them up after we put in our apple pie spice. And you know, if you don't have apple pie spice, cinnamon, nutmeg, they work just as well. About a teaspoon. Just give it a sprinkle. And again, another stir. Alright, that's going to be good to go. I'm going to turn it back up a little bit, grab my pot lid, cover it up, and let that simmer. And we're going to make our baking soda biscuits. This is an old-fashioned biscuit. It's got a thicker consistency, and we are going to start with our sifting. And I got my old-fashioned sifter. Let me grab my wooden spoon here. And we've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Right into the sifter. I was always afraid of making biscuits. The first biscuits I ever made, and I'm telling on myself, my husband called them silver dollar biscuits. Why silver dollar biscuits? Because he said they were the size of and hard as. So I've come a long way with my biscuits. Okay, baking soda right in, and some salt. And we're going to sift. And it's easier for me this way to knock it and go. Want all that flour to get in there, all mixed up. And I love these old-fashioned gadgets. They work really well. All right, all sifted. Now, in this recipe, your shortening can be either Crisco type shortening or butter, your choice. And I'm going to plop that right in the center. And that's 6 tablespoons. And I'm going to use a pastry cutter. And we're going to cut that in until it is crumbly. Takes a few minutes, and you don't want to overwork it. And I always keep a fork handy to make sure I get all that shortening incorporated. All right, looks like it's nice and crumbly. Now it's time for my milk. Bring my milk over here, and I'm going to get another wooden spoon. I think this one will do nicely. And we are going to just put it all in. Want to just stir it around a second, and then I'm going to get a fork and really fix it. Just stir around, get the milk, and let me grab my fork. Scrape that off. And you just want to stir it until all of the flour is wet and it starts to form a little bit of a ball. It just clings together. All right. Looking good here. Now, while I am going to let that sit for just a second, I want to check my apples. Make sure everything's going good here. All right. Those apples look great. They're doing good. Now, back to our biscuits. Let's put this over here. I'm going to take some flour and flour my board. And once I get my board floured, I'm just going to take some of this excess off and put it right there. Get my rolling pin. And the fun with this is getting flour all over the place. Okay. Alright, I've got my dough, and I'm just going to put the dough on the board. I'm going to press a couple times. Knead it just a few times. Remember, these are not those light, real super light fluffy biscuits that you get at some of the fast food places. These are good old-timey biscuits. All right. Now, I'm going to get it in around, and we're going to roll it out. About a ½ inch thick. This makes about 8 to 10 biscuits, just depending on the size that you want to use. I say a 2-inch is good. This is 2-inch, and this is about a 3-inch cutter. The one thing that you want to make sure of is when you're cutting biscuits, and let me grab my pan, it goes on an ungreased pan, and when you go down, don't turn. Go down, don't turn. Let's get these cut and on my pan. And I'm making the big ones. If you twist when you make your cut, it seals the edges and doesn't let them cook and be as flaky as they can be. So you just want to make sure, don't twist and turn. Now, you can use this dough again, cut a few more biscuits, but I'm going to be happy with that. Let me rinse my hands off. And we're going to pop them in a 425 oven. And they're going to stay in for between 10-12 minutes. Depending on your oven, how it cooks. So let's get these in. I'm going to turn on the light, and we need to take those out after we come back from the break. We're going to do our frittata and get our biscuits out of the oven and finish off our apples. See you in a few.
The Coastal Kitchen would like to say thank you to our sponsors at Holden Brothers Farm Market in Charlotte for supplying the fresh produce on this week's show. Swing by their indoor market located near mile marker 10 on Highway 17 or check them out online at holdenbrothersfarmmarket.com.
Welcome back. Biscuits are ready. Let's get them out of the oven. While I was cleaning up, I took the rest of my dough and I made some more, so I'm going to pop those in while we get these ready. Now, I don't know if you can see them, but they're golden brown. They look wonderful, and I have melted a little bit of butter, and I'm just going to take a butter brush, lovely pastry brush, and just coat the top. I like that little bit of flavor on the top of the biscuit, and we'll save that for the ones that we take out. All right, put them on my plate. Wait for the next batch to come out, and they are perfect. Okay, frittata. Frittata is just like an omelet, except you don't turn it. You leave it sit, no stirring. So I'm going to start with 8 eggs, and I'm going to get a whisk here real fast. Let's see. Let's get a whisk. I've been getting my eggs ready, and we've got 8 eggs. This is a dish that's so versatile. You can make it just the way that you like it. Its ingredients can be anything that you choose. Love just herbs, love to put mushrooms in them. Any kind of spice that you like that just makes it hotter. You can make it your own, and it's not difficult to do. Okay, let me grab that right there. Okay. I'm going to start with my bacon. I've got my eggs done here. I'm going to turn my fire on. And while you were away, I took my apples off of the stove, let the cover sit off for about 5 minutes to evaporate some of that liquid, and they're ready for us. Okay, bacon. Cut up in about 1-inch pieces, and we're going to cook it nice and crispy. So that's going to be going on while we cut up the rest of the ingredients that we're going to put in this frittata. Okay. I've got some tomato, and I'm using Roma tomatoes because they're easier to seed. Just give them a nice cut the top off. You can use little bits of that. Gonna cut it in a 1/4. You can take your knife and just cut the membrane underneath, or you can do what I've showed you in the past. Use a grapefruit spoon and just slide them right out. Okay, we're just going to cut them down. Nice small pieces. And now I've got my tomato ready, so I'm going to put my tomato in, and I'm going to check my bacon. I'm going to turn it down just a hair. I love these black skillets. Our ancestors knew what they were doing when they were cooking in these. Okay, now let's get us a couple green onions here. And they've been washed and peeled. I'm just going to throw a couple of these onions in. You know what? I like the green ends also. Gives it a lot of pretty color, and flavor is so good all the way to the very end. So, got some green onion. We're going to throw that in. And I'm going to do a clove of garlic. Good smash. And a peel. And I'm going to look back at the bacon again. Normally, if you pre-cook this bacon before you're getting your frittata ready, it will be nice and cool and crumbly, ready for you. Okay, let's go back to our garlic, get this minced up. Alright, use a smaller knife if you want to, but a bigger one chops it better. Okay, garlic in. I've got some fresh basil leaves and they smell absolutely fabulous. All I'm going to do is twist them up together and give it a cut. And I'm not going to break this up too much because I love the flavor of basil. And to me, the more the merrier. Okay, got that done. Now, I'm going to put in my milk, okay? When I put in my milk, I'm just going to put it straight in with my vegetables. I'm going to stir up again. I'm not going to put any salt in because I like people to salt their own on their eggs. But I am going to put in some pepper, fresh ground. And we're going to grate up some cheese. Alright, bacon needs to be turned off. Nice and crispy. And I'm going to go ahead and take this over here and put it over on a platter that I've got lined with paper towel just to drain off all the excess grease. Love the smell of bacon. Makes me hungry. This is a great time to save that bacon grease if you've got a special canister for it, because that's about as pure as you can get. Okay, let me look at those biscuits just a sec. It's getting close. I'm gonna rinse my fingers off. And grate my cheese. We're going to put about a cup of cheddar cheese in this frittata. And just remember, you can use the one that you like the best. But for this, I really enjoy the cheddar. All those flavors mixed together are absolutely terrific. And this is something you can make and serve room temperature, or you can eat it right away. Okay, cheese in. And rinse off again. And I'm going to get wooden spoon because I don't want that cheese to get caught in my whisk. Get this all mixed up. Okay, now it's time to get my big pan. I know where I put that. All right, I'm going to turn this on medium, and I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter. Now you can use butter or you can use oil. Your choice. But I've had this butter out, so it's almost melted. Okay, we're going to get that butter in there. And we've got one more ingredient to add to our frittata, and that is our crumbled bacon. And if you need to crumble it a little bit more, you want it a little bit smaller, that's fine. But I like the larger pieces. Got all that grease off. And give it another good stir. After you put your frittata mixture in your pan, it's going to have to set for about 5 minutes until the edges really set. Alright, we're going to get everything in here. Nice pour, don't stir. We're going to put this in a 350 oven for about 10 minutes, maybe 12, depends on your oven. First, we're going to let this go for about 5 minutes until the edges are set. Goes in the oven, don't stir, don't touch, and when we come back after word from our sponsors, we'll have everything ready for us to sit down and have a beautiful meal.
ATMC TV and the Coastal Kitchen would like to say thank you to our sponsors at Holden Brothers Farm Market in Charlotte for supplying the fresh produce on this week's show. For over 25 years, the Holden Brothers Farm Market has specialized in the freshest locally grown produce on their 250 acres in Charlotte. Swing by their indoor market located near mile marker 10 on Highway 17 or check them out online at holdenbrothersfarmmarket.com.
What a wonderful meal I've got in front of me. The frittata looks beautiful. The apples are perfect. My biscuits look great. It's time for me to take a bite. But first, I want to remind you to find us on Facebook. Search for the Coastal Kitchen. And we'll see you again next time. Good eating, and make sure that you do it your way.
This is ATMC TV Channel 3. We bring you the best of Brunswick.
We're here to demonstrate an app today on translating.
Te amo. Mi esposa es la mejor del mundo.
You can tell he means that too.
Mis piernas están dormidas. Ayúdame.